storytellers, the erasure of our community. So can you kind of speak to the erasure of our storytellers due to family trauma, broken homes, like these stories that aren't being told anymore?
Yes. Oh my goodness. This is the work of recovery, and it's. I think those of us who were raised by grandparents are a gift because we have access to a completely a set of knowledge and knowledge systems that sometimes can get lost, right? And so, let me see. I think there's a couple things that I can talk about historically, and I'll just use my family as an example. So my family's from the South. I talk about how they migrated from North Carolina to Philly in 1954 during the Second Great Migration, okay? And so you have a lot of families leaving the South for better opportunities in the North, right? And so this industrialization, everyone's going to work, and so lots of things happen in terms of, the historical context of Black women's roles and things like that. But I think, in a sense, it's really just having conversations and having those conversations while our elders are here. So being able to have been raised by my grandmother, I did a lot of things my friends didn't do. And so I talk about being in the garden. So my family had a land in North Philly near the horse stables. What's the movie with Idris Elba and the horse, Concrete Cowboy?
I know that.
Concrete Cowboy, right. So across the street from the horse stables, it's a plot of land, and our family maintained a garden there, and so we were, organic food became this thing, and I'm like, well, we've been doing this since the 80s. You know what I mean? My family, we grew our own produce, and we fed our family, we fed our neighbors. So after school, I was in the garden with my grandparents, learning how to take care of the land and take care of the crops. I use a lot of the storytelling in the book about, these are spiritual traditions, right? Spirituality is African, and so again, it's holistic, that we are mind, body, and spirit. And my grandmother demonstrated this. My great aunt Julia demonstrated this. She was an herbalist. I talk about her medicine cabinet in the book. And my aunt, we were just talking about this. When you would walk into my great aunt Julia's house, she had cod liver, castor oil. And, it didn't matter if you had a cold, the flu, a mosquito bite. Right. Castor oil, cod liver oil. And so I knew to go to the medicine cabinet for these. And they were in these bottles that didn't have, and so, right, but these are traditions. And my grandmother was a numerologist. She didn't call herself that, but she studied numbers. And I talk about this dream book that she would keep next to her Bible, under her Bible. I think she kept it under her Bible, and that's important, right? Because we don't always lead with our intuitive and spiritual knowledge systems as valid. And so there is this silencing that happens sometimes in our spirituality, right? And so I talk about that because these were the types of knowledge systems that I was exposed to, and I didn't question them. My grandmother would, she played her numbers based on the dreams that she had. Oh, wow. And so, and I knew it, she had Post-it notes, and I'm like, this math is different from the math that I'm doing at school, but I didn't talk about, we didn't talk, there was no language around it. So thinking about the storytelling and the traditions of our foremothers, our grandfathers, it is so important. So ask them, and it's very simple, especially now with technology. And I wrote it in the book that I was always ripping and running. Where is Yanni now? And I'm sure young people, that's how we do. We graduate high school and we're gone. It's hard to track us down. But this idea of preserving our stories and our histories is so incredibly important, and it's our task. It's not the responsibility of anyone else; it's our task. And when I was writing this book and having conversations with family, I was learning so much, and I was like, I didn't know that my grandfather owned a candy store in North Philly in the 60s. And so there were bits and pieces of information that I would add to the book because for me, it was like a preservation of our history. And so, yeah, it's very, very important. Yeah.
Okay. Just a quick question.